So I've been living in Thailand for about just over a year now, and I kind of moved here accidentally, and I've loved every single second of it. So in this video, while we're on a weekend getaway, we're just at a sheep farm now. I've never seen sheep this pampered before. I'm going to explain exactly why I moved here, the benefits of moving here, why I absolutely love this country, why I'm probably going to be staying here for the near-term future, but also some of the negatives, so maybe you can make the decision for yourself if you ever thought about coming out and moving to Southeast Asia, specifically Thailand. Let's go. Okay, so before we start talking about what are the pros and cons of living in Thailand, let me just give you some background on how I actually came to be here. As I said initially, I did actually come out and start living here by accident. So it was back last year, August 2022, where I left my hometown of Guernsey, went part-time on my job, did a lad's holiday in Zante, which I don't really remember much of it, and then flew out to Athens for a few days, and then out to Southeast Asia. So initially the plan was to sort of bomb around Vietnam on a bike for 3 to 4 to 5 months, and then come back to the UK and start taking life a bit more seriously, which obviously, as you can see, hasn't happened. Vietnam was great. Went to Vietnam, bought a bike, got completely ripped off on a bike, didn't know how to drive a bike, got taught how to ride a bike in Hanoi, which is probably the worst city to learn how to drive a bike in. I would not recommend it, but you do learn fast. Drove over the sort of the western mountains near Sapa, drove all the way to the border at Dien Bien Phu with the plan to sort of cross into Laos and do Laos and then Vietnam and do continuous sort of visa runs, because at the time Vietnam was only allowing a 30-day visa for all tourists. Now I got to the border at Dien Bien Phu, and Dien Bien Phu is actually a really cool place. It's where the battle of Dien Bien Phu between the French and General Yap of the Viet Cong, or the Viet Minh as they were called back then, that actually the French ended up lost thousands of soldiers, and is what eventually kicked them out of the country, and was the collapse of French Indochina. So I couldn't cross the border into Laos, and I decided just to sort of fly out, and the first place I thought of was Thailand. So in October 2022, flew out to Thailand and decided just to do 30 days in the north of the country. Came to Chiang Mai after a few drunken days in Bangkok on Khao San Road, and yeah, Chiang Mai, I just sort of fell in love with the city. It's really hard to describe or to put into words what's so great about this city, but it's a city of about 500,000 people. It's big enough that it has all the Western amenities, big shopping malls, all the sort of really good, quite good high class sort of like Western food as well, if you get bored of the Thai food. But also it's not too big, 30 minutes and you're in the Thai countryside like this. There's a huge sort of mountain overlooking Chiang Mai, Doi Pui, which you can go hiking on, and I do quite a lot. And yeah, just absolutely love the city. Spent about 2 weeks in that city, mainly actually just getting drunk in hostels, but also doing some cultural things, going out on a motorbike and riding around the countryside. And then I went up to Pai, which is a small sort of hippie town in northern Thailand. Really, really lovely place. Great sort of mushroom shakes that you can do there actually. I would definitely recommend going to Pai if you're coming through Chiang Mai. And then I did the Mae Hon Son Loop, motorbike loop, and that was sort of the end of my 30-day tourist visa in Thailand. And then I went back to Vietnam, did some more riding around in Vietnam, and then I sort of got bored of traveling. Really, I think a lot of people think that traveling is this amazing sort of experience that you can sort of just do forever, and it's a holiday, and everyone sort of loves it. But after a while, it's actually quite draining moving from one place to another, always having to think where you're going, doing stuff. Sometimes you sort of just want to sit and relax, or even just get into a normal routine. I mean, the issue with traveling all the time is you don't really have time for exercise. You're eating a lot, you know, street food a lot of the time, which tends to not be that healthy. I put on a lot of weight, and I sort of just wanted to get into a good routine. And since I had such a great time in Thailand, I thought, well, let's go spend 2 months in Thailand and yeah, get into a good routine, get into shape, see if I can start my own business. And at the time I was still working part-time, but I sort of wanted to move on from that job and do something for myself. So I came to Thailand, and that's pretty much, I've been here ever since, been just renewing my tourist visa month after month. So that's a little bit of backstory. Now let's get on to why I love Thailand so much. And you can probably see out of this window, one of the best things about Thailand is that it has just an absolutely stunning countryside. I mean, just look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, sure, okay, the UK does have really, really nice countryside as well, but I do like the Thai countryside and the look of the sort of the rice fields and the jungle sort of vibe. So, you know, one of the things I really love doing is hiking, and you can do a lot of hiking out here. Really, really beautiful countryside, beautiful country in a way as well. I mean, Vietnam's great, but Thailand's I think beats it a little bit. So now sort of like point number 2, and I think I mentioned this before when I was talking about Chiang Mai. It's sort of modern enough that you've got all the nice Western things, but it's also not hyper modern like the UK, where you can come out to the countryside and go through, you know, small wooden villages that probably haven't changed for 200 years. And it's that sort of contrast that I really do like. I mean, I think a lot of people, when they come out to Thailand or they think of Southeast Asia, they think of it as sort of a third world country, but actually Southeast Asia has developed drastically over the past 20 years, and Thailand is actually a very, very wealthy country. The third point is the Thai people, of course. There's a reason why Thailand is called the land of smiles. The people are probably some of the friendliest in Southeast Asia, you know, compared to Vietnamese. The Vietnamese aren't actually that hostile. It's just that they don't really sort of engage or speak with you, you know, if you don't really approach them. Whereas in Thailand, any place that you enter, you're always met with a smile and a bow. Yeah, I just really, really enjoy the sort of the friendly atmosphere of Thailand, and especially up here in the north, things are a lot slower than Bangkok, as the Thai people like to say, sabai sabai, you know, chilling, slow down. It's sort of the slow life up here. Yeah, really enjoy that side of living in Thailand. In the UK, everything just seems so rushed all the time. You know, even out of the big cities like London, I spent a lot of time in Liverpool. Everybody's moving really, really fast. No one's sort of just chilling out. And also, to be honest, most of the UK cities outside, like city centres in London and Liverpool and Manchester, yeah, most of the cities are just absolute dumps. Especially when you go out into the suburbs, they're grey, horrible, sort of depressing dumps of copy and paste houses, and you sort of just don't get that out here in Thailand. And that's sort of moving on to the next point is, you know, the weather. Obviously, the weather is just always hot, always sort of. It's either nice or too hot, but I think I'd rather it be sometimes too hot than just cold and miserable all the time. And yeah, there is a rainy season. We're sort of just coming out of rainy season right now. But what I find mostly with this rainy season in Thailand is actually it's not that bad as the UK. It will rain really, really heavily. It's sort of like the heaviest rain I've ever seen, but it will rain for 10, 20, 30 minutes, flood everything, and then the sun will come out. And what I love about the weather is just you're able to go outside every night, and it's just a perfect sort of 25, 26 degrees, and it doesn't actually get cold at night most of the time. So we've just arrived at the White Temple, which is pretty much the only thing to see in Chiang Rai. I've become one of those tourists that is wearing elephant pants, because apparently you need in Thailand to cover your knees. But then when we got to the gate, foreigners have to pay 100 baht fee, and I left all my cash inside. So I've sent my boyfriend in to to go and view the temple himself. Now, I thought this would take some time to actually just talk about some of the other good points about Thailand, and probably one of the ones that you've heard of most is the food. So obviously Thai food is probably some of the best food on the planet, and to be honest, here in Thailand I probably cook maybe 5 to 10% of the time, because what you actually find is that going to the grocery store and buying all the ingredients and actually cooking for yourself is actually more expensive than just going out and eating. You can get a good meal for 50, 60 baht, which is about £1.30. And really, you rarely have a bad meal here. Some of the worst meals here that I've had are actually the take on Western food. But even then again, the Western food isn't that bad. Although definitely one of the downsides of Thailand here is that they just don't do full English breakfast at all. And I've paid 20 plus quid for a full English breakfast, and they're just the sausages and the bacon. They don't do cured bacon here, and the sausages are full of noodles, or they're sort of like, like the hot dog sausages. That's probably one of the only things wrong with Thailand. Now, sort of the last thing, and probably the thing that I love the most actually about Thailand, is the sense of freedom here that you have. Really, anything's possible. We've just driven a car from Chiang Mai to Chiang Rai. I don't have an international driving license. Probably shouldn't be disclosing this on camera, but even if you do get stopped by the police and you don't have a license, well, guess what? It's only a 500 baht fine, so about 10 quid. Did that in the UK without a driving license, you'd be spending a couple of days probably in jail, and you'd have to pay probably a couple thousand quid. And that's the same really for most of the offences in Thailand. Actually, you can pretty much just pay your way out of them. And this isn't just, corruption, and obviously corruption is a heavy topic here in Thailand, especially Southeast Asia, because, for the local Thai people, corruption isn't great. But if you're sort of a tourist, or if you have a bit of money, actually, I found corruption can be quite nice. Definitely makes things easier for you, but obviously it's a sort of a heavy topic. But that being said, even if you look at the Thai law book, for pretty much all of the offences up until murder, what you'll actually find is that there's a prison sentence that you can do, and then a Thai baht figure that you can actually pay just to avoid the prison sentence, which I don't know, but personally I think that's a great way of doing it. And really, that's the thing about Thailand. If you have a bit of money, if you're making a couple £1,000 per month, you can pretty much buy most things here. You can, rent a car, you can rent a bike very easily. You just sign a bit of paper, give over the cash, and that's the same with anything. Anything you want to do here, there aren't health and safety laws stopping you. There aren't tons of paperwork that you need to sort of fill out. And I think that's what sort of adds to the sense of freedom here, is that really anything is possible. I mean, there is definitely Thai bureaucracy, and getting the visa is not that easy. I'm still just running on tourist visas. And if you want to set up a Thai business, or you want to actually start investing in Thai property, that's when you're going to run into the whole bureaucracy. But it's not like in the UK, sort of a police state where you do something wrong, you say something on Twitter, and you can get put in jail for it. Yeah, and it's sort of and it's just really sort of a mixture of these things. The sense of freedom, the great food, how cheap everything is. I live in the newest condo pretty much in Chiang Mai. It's got the whole roof as a swimming pool. It's got a gym. We've got a sauna and a steam room, and I'm paying like £500 per month for this. Easily, if it was in central London, he'd be paying £3,000, £4,000 for the same accommodation. So really, sort of, I think for me personally, the benefits of just sort of living out here far outweigh the downsides, which is, you don't get some of your staples, bacon, sausages, black pudding. Can't get any of that out here really. And sometimes, you can run into sort of bureaucracy issues with visas and so forth. But really, apart from that, there actually aren't that many downsides, apart from it being super hot sometimes. But hey, we're British, we complain about the weather all the time, whether it's too cold or too hot. And really, I would urge anyone who's can work remotely or has a remote income to actually just come out here and try it out for a few months, and travel around Southeast Asia. And it's sort of living in a different country gives you a completely different perspective on how people think in different parts of the world, and definitely opens your mind up. So I hope that's been informative, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.